What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to an extremely minimally edited episode for this week. It is a holiday week this week, and I just wanted to keep it as minimal for me to work on as possible. I hope that's okay. I'm going to enjoy the holiday week. Also, I see an airplane going by the window. We're going to probably hear those in the background. I am going to try to edit this as little as possible. So if that's your vibe, just kind of chit-chat conversation style, welcome. And if it's not your vibe, either I hope you still find it useful or, just wait till next week. It's okay. I'll have my usual style come out later. We are sitting in my jungle / guest room / home office / you can't see it on screen, but there's laundry piles on the bed behind me, and my cat is here. Maybe she will make an appearance at some point. But this is where I wanted to film today, so welcome. And a few weeks back, like a month ago maybe-ish, I put a survey out to my email list inviting you all to give some feedback about how I go about doing some sort of like Black Friday deal. And I have ideas, but I don't have them ready yet, so they're not ready for Black Friday, but I have not forgotten about you. I'm going to put something together, and maybe it'll be something like a New Year's bundle or something like that. So keep your eyes open for that. I will keep you posted. But also, there was just such a goldmine of information in that survey because I invited you all to share, would you like me to do my usual course bundle? Do you want me to make a new course? If so, what do you want the topic to be about, etc. And I'm not going to be able to make a course about every single topic that different folks requested. My cat is playing with something jingling in the background. I don't know if you can hear that. So I thought I would try to release as many free bits of content as I could addressing the topics you all asked about that I'm not planning on making some sort of training or course about. So that's what we're going to do today. And one of the questions, I was genuinely surprised that came up way more than I think anything else. I didn't count it out to confirm, but it was a frequently brought up topic when folks were giving feedback about what sort of course they might want, was about how to make an online course as a therapist. And I know that that's been trendy, but I guess my impression for some reason was that that was sort of falling out of favor. But is it on the upswing? Am I just like super out of touch? My impression was that it was kind of falling out of favor to pursue these sort of like online business type forms of passive income for therapists. I think that the idea of like the side hustle was really, really trendy kind of right around the pandemic, or maybe even like basically when I started Private Practice Skills, that was in 2018. I think this was like kind of hip. And now I think it's, I don't know. Anywho, that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is, for those of you who responded to the survey, so many of you asked for help with putting together, whether it's an online course or some sort of like online sellable product to supplement your income as a therapist, which obviously is something that I know a thing or two about. If you haven't been following any of my content, Private Practice Skills is my primary source of income. I see therapy clients 1 day a week. It's kind of been scooching past that lately because it's just a little busy, but 1 day a week ideally. So technically my therapy practice is now my side hustle, and Private Practice Skills is my main hustle. I have a whole bunch of income sources from Private Practice Skills, which I've shared about in prior episodes. I'll try to link to all the episodes where I've spoken about passive income, making courses, how to start a YouTube channel, that sort of thing. I'll try to link to all of those in the description of this episode, so you can kind of, if you want to binge on that, go for it. I've talked about it actually quite a bit over the years, so I won't break down all my income sources, but one of my income sources is online courses, and it's been quite successful. I've been very intentional about trying to not overprice my courses. So, relative to others in this space, I try to keep them a little bit more affordable where I can. And since I launched my first course, I want to say that was in 2020. I want to say it was in 2020 that I launched my first course, which is my still flagship course, How to DIY Your Therapist Website. I've generated over 6 figures in revenue in course sales. So I think I could call that a success. I was not expecting that I would arrive in this place, and I don't do any live launches. Like, I just basically barely promote the course, if at all. It's like, it's on my website. You can buy it if you want. every now and then if I make a YouTube video that's related, I'll plug it, and then I'll do a promo like my typical Black Friday bundle. I'll do something like that once a year. It's not going to be during Black Friday this year, but it'll come when I'm ready for it. So I know a thing or two about being a therapist and selling courses. Now, of course, my courses are something that I sell to other therapists. And so if you're looking to sell not to other therapists, but maybe to either your clients potentially, that's maybe a little bit of an ethically dicey thing. I'm not even going to touch on that today. But people who maybe like could be a client, but maybe they couldn't afford therapy per se, but they might be able to afford a course or things along those lines. But I think some of these strategies could still be quite relevant. Now, I mentioned I have a fair amount of content that I've made over the years already addressing like starting a side hustle, starting an online business, how to start if you want to sell a course, how to start a YouTube channel, all these different kind of things that I'm doing with my own business. So again, I'll link to all of those below, but typically the advice that I've repeated in those episodes over and over and over again is that you need to build an audience. Now, that is definitely how I've gone about building this business, to say build the audience first, see what your audience needs, and then build a course that addresses what they need, which if you have the time and the resources to do that, if that fits your personality, I 100% recommend doing it that way. But something that I'm observing and learning is, of course, not everyone is like me. Amen, or else, what would the world come to? We're all different. We all have different styles, different ways of starting a business. And so this way of building an audience first and then building a course that fits that audience makes sense for me. It's going to make sense for some people, but it's not going to make sense for everyone. So I thought for today's episode, I'd offer a easy on-ramp for those of you who are not looking to like build up a sizable audience per se, or at least not need to build up the audience before you can even start selling something. But maybe you'd like to create something, start selling it. Of course, if you don't have a large audience, it's going to be a small trickle of sales initially, but then maybe you might be able to start to garner more sales over time. This episode is tailored to you. So if you're interested in that, keep on listening. I'm going to share some tips that you can like get the ball rolling on right away. So if you're in this camp where you want to sell some sort of course, or it doesn't have to be a course, it could be like an ebook or a guide, or it could be a guided audio, something, if there's, that sort of thing. And you don't want to build an audience first, my recommendation is rather than going out and building the most epically awesome, giant, put together, produced course that you could imagine, and then just like posting it on the internet somewhere or something like that and hoping that it sells, I suggest that you create a very, very small product, a relatively small product. So rather than creating this like giant course that maybe you're going to charge, upwards of $100 or hundreds or even thousands of dollars for, listen, there's people out there charging thousands, so you do you. I don't want to charge that much. But anyway, rather than making a big course like that, I would suggest making a product that isn't going to take you very long to put together. I don't mean something you're going to slap together in an hour, but, maybe like 10 to 40 hours of work to put together, which is work. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want you to spend like 500 hours putting something together. That's a lot. 500 hours. I mean, there's people who put in that much. So yeah, I did that and threw away. And I definitely did that. I've spoken about that. I've spent, I didn't count how many hours, but I spent a full year of like maybe 10 plus hours a week building a course that I ended up trashing because I did this. I built the course before I built the audience, and I tried to build the most epic, massive, perfect course, and that wasn't the way to do it. I don't think that's hardly ever the way to do it. So you either build an audience and then give them the epic course that they want, or you create a small product first. Maybe spend something like 10 to 40 hours building this product. And the idea is I want you to invest as reasonably minimal amount of time as possible to start testing out whatever concept you're hoping to sell. So historically, and even now, a lot of people will suggest creating lead magnets, which is a strategy that I also used. Essentially, you create a product that's free and quite valuable, and use that to grow your email list. And then once you create a more expensive product that took you more time, you sell it to your email list. That's absolutely, I'm still doing that. My free checklist is exactly that. I have a free PDF that shows you how to start a private practice, the full checklist. I tried to make it as awesome as possible, and it's free, and because I want everyone to have the free information. But in order to get the checklist, you sign up for my email list to receive it. And then, if you want to keep getting my emails, great. I'm going to tell you about what's going on, and sometimes I might sell you something. And if you want to unsubscribe, great. I do that all the time. I do it all the time. I unsubscribe from most of the things that I subscribe to get something like this. So more power to you. You do you. You do you. Get your free checklist. I support you. So that's called a lead magnet. I give you something for free in exchange for your email, and then someday I'll sell to you. But instead of creating a free lead magnet, create a lead magnet like this that's sort of a bite-sized kind of product, if you will. Like that free PDF checklist was not something that took me an hour to put together. It probably took me 20 to 40 hours to do that whole checklist. And of course, I've tweaked it over time, but even the initial drop of it was probably 20 to 40 hours of work. So it's not a small thing, and I released it for free, but I could have just as easily opted to release that same kind of checklist for a very reasonable price. Like maybe I could drop a checklist like that for 17, or maybe tops like $35, or I wouldn't charge even $40 for that. That feels, but my pricing system, I think, is lower than most people. But let's say it's like a $20 product that people would be willing to spend $20 on it to say, like, let me see if this helps me get the ball rolling, and kind of addresses a specific need, and feel like it was worthwhile for them to spend that money. Like it's a small enough amount of money that even if it turns out to have been maybe not the best product, you're not going to be like kicking yourself for spending the $20 or something like that. And doesn't have to be $20. It could even be a more expensive product-ish, like a $60 product. But as long as what you're delivering sort of matches what the quality, I guess, like if someone should feel like they got $60 worth of product, or even like they got a deal on your product. And the idea with this is, rather than offering a free product in order to build an email list, in order to then sell them a more expensive product, like a bigger course, you can grow an audience by offering a very useful, very affordable product that genuinely helps people with a specific problem or a specific need. And the idea with that is you can grow the audience and make money at the same time, even if, you're not going to be generating 5 figures plus of income straight away. It might be a tiny trickle of sales to begin with. And those people can still end up on an email list, and maybe someday you sell a bigger course once you get a better sense of what the folks on your email list are interested in. Hopefully what I'm saying is making sense. I did not script this episode at all. Like, I know what I'm talking about, but normally I'll say like, okay, start here and then say this and then say that, or like step 1, step 2, step 3. But I'm just kind of chattily, is that a word? Chattily, I guess, telling you about this concept. So I hope this is making sense. But I want you to be able to test out a concept with a small product while hopefully building your audience and generating a little bit of income all at the same time. That's the idea. So whether you call it a lead magnet or something else, that's the general concept that I think might fit better for those folks who are a better fit for like creating something and selling it right away rather than building an audience. If you take nothing else away from this, my suggestion is to create a very small product that's not going to take you too long and start selling that if you have no audience, rather than creating a very time-consuming, costly product and selling it if you have no audience. That's like the main point I'm trying to make. So if you want some more kind of practical advice on how to genuinely like practically do this, here are some things to consider. So I would consider, if you're making a pretty small product, you don't want it to seem like it's going to fix all of people's problems with everything in this tiny little product. So personally, I after I launched my bigger course, I eventually created this smaller product as well. And in retrospect, I think it could have made a lot of sense to release that product first. And that is a product that I no longer sell, or I think maybe if you have the link, you can still buy it, but I don't have it posted anywhere online, or if it's still online somewhere, it means I missed it. But it's called the GMB Secret. Google Business Profile used to be Google My Business. And so I created this very like pocket-sized training that you could complete in like a Saturday or maybe a weekend to get your Google Business Profile up and running and like optimized to show up in Google search results, particularly hopefully in the Google 3-pack. I'm not going to teach you what the 3-pack means if you haven't heard of it. Basically, to just help clients find you through something called Google Business Profile, which is a very effective way, in my opinion, to grow your practice for free. So I created this training. I probably put that training together in like 20 hours and called it the GMB Secret, GMB for Google My Business at the time. And I only more recently took it down because it's in need of some updating and I don't have the time at the moment to update it. So I just went ahead and took it offline. Maybe I will revamp it and put it back online later. I'm not making any promises, but that is this little small product that I created, and I decided to price it at $27. So in theory, if you get even one client as a result of your Google Business Profile, then hopefully it feels more than worth it to you and you're establishing your online presence and all of that. But it's not going to be a tool that teaches you everything you need to know to launch a successful private practice with clients streaming in. I mean, maybe some people might keep their practice full from just Google Business Profile. I could definitely see that being a possibility, but you still would need you need a website and other things to round out your marketing. So it's not going to solve everything, but it's like a kind of easy step you can take that makes a big difference. It can be really helpful, and it's something you can achieve quickly. It's something I can create relatively easily because I know about it, and you can kind of feel like you get that quick win that starts to move the needle in the right direction for what you're needing help with. So that's kind of the mindset to have in mind if you're creating a smaller product like this. Like, what's something that the folks, whether it's directed towards your therapy target demographic or whether it's directed towards a different audience than you see in your therapy practice, whoever it is, what's like a really common question or concern that folks have in that audience. And so, like, talking about my product, the GMB Secret, a lot of people are asking me, like, how do I fill my practice? How do I fill my practice? And I think the long answer is pretty long and nuanced. And if you want to get the long and nuanced answer, then I have the more involved course to help you do that. But also, here's a quick way that you can fill your practice and you can achieve it right away. So I'm trying to help address a concern or problem that I hear coming up over and over and over again in my audience. And maybe it's also advice that I find myself giving over and over and over again to people. So let me just make a training and I can say, hey, check out my training and follow all the steps and it'll help you do this thing that you're needing help with. So I could see this playing out in any number of ways. Let's say, if you're, I know I reference therapists treating anxiety often because that used to be my specialty, so it's just an easy thing to pull from. Let's say you're a therapist specializing in anxiety, and you use the same, let's say, like deep breathing exercise with, or maybe the same 5 exercises you use with your clients over and over again. It could be an option to create a package of 5 audio recordings of your top deep breathing exercises and sell it for something like $17, $20, something that feels really accessible. And if it's something that you genuinely stand by as like, these are the deep breathing exercises that like I give my clients and they find helpful, and it's, genuinely true, then you're offering a really helpful product. If you're that person that maybe can't afford therapy or just would really benefit from having those deep breathing exercises, like $20 to have those and just have those audio recordings is really, really worthwhile, at least in my opinion, right? You're not charging $1,000 or even $100 for something that might actually be quite helpful, but might also not take you too long to create that. And I definitely suggest pulling from things you already know, advice you're already giving to folks, things that are just kind of right in your back pocket where, if in that example with the anxiety therapist using the deep breathing exercises, maybe you're doing that deep breathing exercise frequently with your clients in sessions. So it's just like right in your back pocket. Now you're just having to get a microphone and hit record. And this is a good moment to pause and comment. If you're feeling caught up in technology, I would just find the path of least resistance for you to create this product. Like, don't make a bad product, but like if it's an audio recording, you can create a voice memo on your phone, and there's ways to make it sound better. Do a Google search, like how to create a nice sounding audio recording for free or with my phone. If you're going to create some sort of mini course, you can use a free platform. I mean, I use Teachable and I pay for the pro version because at this point it's worth it for me, but they have a free version. Well, I didn't double check this. At least when I started my Teachable, they had a free version where if you're making under a certain amount of sales, it's totally worthwhile to just have the free version. Or I'm trying to think, like you could offer a free PDF guide. You can call it an ebook, but make a PDF, and maybe people sign up and you just send them an email, or you can have it automated. So find the path of least resistance to create the product that you're wanting to create. Don't get caught up in the production value of like, I need to buy a fancy camera if you don't have one. I mean, if you already have it and you want to make a video and you know how to use it, great. And if it's a skill set that you don't have yet, I don't suggest trying to like have to learn a whole new skill set for a product like this. So I'm trying to think if there's other pieces about this that I wanted to touch on. We're talking about, let's see, so basically make a small product that very quickly and easily helps start to solve a problem or provide a bit of relief for the folks that you're wanting to speak to when you're selling something to them. And also make sure it's a product that's easy enough for you to develop. Like, don't get your wires crossed in technology that you're not used to and that sort of thing. Like, keep it as simple as possible. And I think that is a good starting point. And just post it wherever you have some kind of available presence to that audience. So I'm not going to kind of prescribe like where to post it. And also, I don't think I'm the person to speak to like the ethics of selling something on your therapist website. I will say I've personally always felt strongly for myself that I need to keep my therapy practice and private practice skills completely separate. They are two separate business entities. There's no wires getting crossed there. As far as like if somebody, anyway, there's no like people purchasing stuff through my therapist website that's related to private practice skills, for example. So that's how I've chosen to set it up, but I'm not an authority on like the ethics of like, if you wanted to sell something on your therapist website, I know people do that. I personally have opted not to do that. No harm done in keeping them separate is what I'm getting at. So, what I will say is if you want some more help with this, I have a recommendation and I'm a little wary of giving the recommendation, because I see pros and cons. The concept that I just described, there is a content creator who has a product that teaches you how to create this sort of paid lead magnet. And her name is Courtney Foster Donahue, and she has this product that she calls Pocket Products. It's a training where she teaches you how to create a pocket product, which is sort of her phrasing for this like very affordably priced lead magnet that we're talking about. And I took her pocket product course, and I also have taken her high four-figure course. And after completing her high four-figure course, I thought everything that I actually am using from her exists in her pocket product. So she has some marketing tactics that I personally am trying to pull away from, or I opt not to use. And so I'm just giving all these qualifiers to say, I think This product she has called Pocket Products is amazing. It's $47. Depending on how long you spend building this kind of mini product, you could potentially just kind of put this together in like a weekend or a week. I think most people will spend longer than that, but it's a very reasonable step-by-step process for creating what she calls a pocket product. On her website, it says that it's actually, I don't know, $199 or something like that, and this deal is going to end, and there's like a timer. And I've never seen it not be $47, so to me that's a little bit of a deceptive practice. Again, something that I try not to utilize, or if I had utilized it in the past, move away from. But since I've heard of it like 3+ years ago, over 3 years ago, it's always been $47 anytime I've checked. Now, I do have an affiliate link for this, so just all of these caveats, I will link to it below. You can click around, you can decide. I personally utilized that structure when I created the GMB secret. And I'll say too, like full disclosure, just from the GMB secret alone, like I did make close to $10,000 in sales, and that's a $27 product. Granted, I have a pretty sizable audience, and maybe most people might not make that level of sales, but you can generate like some side passive income just from the pocket product. But a way of looking at it is when you sell enough of these little products, then you can get a better idea of like what kind of feedback people have. You can even build in a feedback form into your product if you want, or like send an email and invite people to share their feedback gently and kindly, or like offer a gift card if someone gives their feedback, whatever. There's different ways of doing it. Basically get information about like, was this training what you wanted? Do you want more training about this? I mean, I do that with private practice skills all the time. Like, what is it that you're looking for? What can I make that's helpful? And then that might give you clues about, for the folks who found your little mini product helpful, here's the lingering questions that they still have that they want some help with. And then you can really build out a bigger product and offer it to them down the road when you have a good sense of what it is that now your audience is looking for. So I know this isn't like every single step for how to make that product and how to sell it, but I hope that this is a helpful approach to kind of springboard from if you're not looking to build a big audience before you start creating a product to sell. So I hope you didn't mind my meandering rambly nature. This takes me back to when I made those ramble videos, which there was a season where I released them in my emails, and that was, I think, was kind of ended up being the precursor to my podcasts. But this was fun for me. I hope it wasn't too boring for you. I'm glad you were here, and best wishes to you. And before we close, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes.com for sponsoring this video. Therapy Notes helps with all of your practice management needs, from scheduling to notes to billing. They have a HIPAA-secure telehealth platform included for free for all users, and so much more. If you'd like to check out Therapy Notes, you can get 2 months to try it for free with no commitment just by clicking the link in the description of this video. So I'll link to all those things below. Prior episodes I've made about passive income, side hustles, courses, all of that is going to be linked below. I hope you have a wonderful holiday week if you're watching it this week. And until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well.